Before we get going into your Hockey IQ podcast episode, I want to thank our sponsor, Rapid Shot. Rapid Shot is the smart shooting lane. It's like a batting cage for hockey players. Very cool. Tracks your shot in three ways: accuracy, shot speed, and reaction time. Easy to use. Actually, I used it when I played and was growing up. Very easy. Simply scan your phone in, select your settings, and start shooting. You can see your stats on the app and online. You can check them out at rapidshot.com. Great small business. I actually grew up with one of the owner's sons and have played with all the family members by now, just in local pickups here in Ohio. Very cool local business. Awesome product. I love it. I know quite a few NHLers have them in their homes. A lot of D1 programs have it at their rinks. So you have to check this out. Rapidshot.com. Check it out. Rapid Shot, thank you so much for sponsoring our podcast.
On the Hockey IQ podcast today, we bring on the man, the myth, the legend, David Laszlo, who probably appreciates that comment. It's been a while since you've probably had that comment.
Yeah. So in Finnish, legendary was used a couple times 8 or 10 years ago by a couple of my classmates. So that was kind of fun, mostly because of the gray hair, but that's beside the point.
So you got some classmates here. So yeah, let's get into that. So originally from North America, and you're now coaching and working over in Finland, and you took some classes over there. So you mind giving us maybe a 30-second backstory here?
So that's actually how this whole journey started. Was there's a program in Lahti, Finland called Hagahelia. So it's on the Veromäki campus, and I'm totally butchering the Finnish town names because my pronunciation is awful. But it's a 3.5 year program, and it's for sports coaches, sports management, and several of the coaches that go through that end up in the pro ranks. So right now, one of my classmates, he played Finland U18, won a world championship back in the day. He's now married, kids of his own, but he's the Lahti Pelicans U20 coach, and will be working with the Pelicans pro team on a regular basis. And like I said, he's a classmate, so we keep in touch and we keep on sharing ideas, which is what this is all about. So it's cool to be on these podcasts and continue to share ideas with different audiences. So I appreciate the invite.
Absolutely. And I would put you in the forward thinker category, really pushing the edge and trying different things, and not just talking about it, but actually doing it, which is really cool. So I'm curious, what are maybe some of these ideas that you're sharing with others that you feel very strongly and very passionately about?
I remember when I was first invited to USA Hockey National Camps as a team leader. So other guys are coaching, they're junior coaches, they're college coaches. And one of the rules that USA Hockey had put into their national camps as a test was no icing during penalty kill. So you're still allowed to ice the puck, but now it's a whistle, no line change, and a defensive zone faceoff. And when they explained to me the reasoning why, that just kind of opened up my brain to say, hey, why do we have the rules that we have? What are we trying to accomplish with these rules? What constraints are we really trying to build into it? So if we take out the ability to ice the puck on penalty kill, we force the kids to have to make other decisions. And again, I'm in a desperate situation. I'm trapped in my own zone for 30 or 40 seconds. Yeah, I'm going to ice the puck and try and get some wind in my lungs. But that started me, 10 years ago. I didn't allow my then Bantam hockey team to ice the puck on penalty kill. And all the parents thought I was absolutely crazy. And I said, but wait a second, we're a AA hockey team. We're not AAA. We're not, trying to win every single hockey game out there known to man. What can we do to better develop these kids? What constraints can we give them that force them to see the game a little bit differently? So that was actually one of the first things that I really started with was we don't ice the puck on penalty kill. We don't dump the puck. We want to control the puck. We want to regroup rather than just throw the puck in and go for a line change. And one of the things I want to be careful about saying, and I already kind of hinted at it, There are times to dump the puck. There are times to ice the puck. There are times to break the rules of the constraints so that we can accomplish something else. I don't believe in this dichotomy of you either do this or you do that, and that's it. No, there's times to do all of it. So, like I said, the idea of USA Hockey saying, "Hey, we're going to change these rules because we want kids to see the game differently," started opening things up for me and made me really, really think about what am I doing in practice to help these kids see the game differently. So that's kind of how that all started. And that comes up now. Now you're going to ask me about these fabled colored pucks that I have.
Well, I want to start by saying, why is it important? And for me, I think it's because the environment is the strongest incentive. Your environment shapes you more than anything else. So I'm assuming that's why you feel so strongly about implementing these constraints on your players, we'll say, or rules on your players that,
Yes,
they can break every once in a while, and that's okay. But for the most part, you're trying to open their minds. You're trying to challenge them to find solutions. And the
exactly.
environment is going to be the one that is most powerful at doing that.
So if we were to just create what's called a closed drill, there's one solution to this drill, and you draw it up on the board, and they have to go this direction and then that direction and move the puck here and then get the puck from there. They're not thinking about why they're doing any of that. They're just going into this thing, and they might be really, really good practice players, but the game is so chaotic that what have you actually taught them? So in a closed drill, what I try to make sure that I do, if I have a closed drill, there's always an explicit reason for this drill. I am trying to teach the habit of opening up to the puck in the defensive zone so we can catch a pass. So I might do that as a closed drill for 2 or 3 months. And then I try to open up that drill so that the kids know that there's more than one way to open up. There's more than one reason to open up. There's more than one place to open up so that they can catch passes. So now I'm ingraining the habit within the context of the bigger game. So there's reasons for closed drills. We're talking about technique, and you can learn technique by doing the technique over and over and over again. But the skill is, when do I use that technique? Where do I use that technique? Is that the absolute optimum technique to use in this situation? Well, how do you get them to have those answers? You create the environments that make them allow them to have more than one solution. And then you start asking the questions when they're back in line, ready to go for their next rep. Hey, what'd you see there? What were you thinking in that situation? You chose to move the puck there. Did you have other things that you could have done? Were you thinking about them? Did you see anything? And I think seeing is one of the biggest things that we can teach our 11, 12, 13, and 14-year-olds. Get information. Use your eyes and get as much information as you can.
Well, thank you so much for bringing it up, because we actually wrote a Hockey IQ newsletter on the best question in hockey, which was, what did you see?
Exactly.
So I think you're actually spot on, because that answer that kid gives you is actually gold. It tells you so much information about where they are, because
Yes.
we all these coaches, and I'm guilty of everything in the rule book. I just hopefully have moved on it faster than others. Is trying to understand where they are, not where you want them to be or where you think they are. Like, you truly need to understand where they are in the process. Is it because they didn't take a look? Their body orientation to the play was off. They saw it, but they didn't have the depth of knowledge. Did they see it? It was just poor execution. Okay, maybe it's a technique we need to work on, where that may be. So I think that's the key. I mean, you just skipped over a lot of good stuff that we should probably dig into at some point, but I would love to continue down this track of just like the power of question asking, the power of trying to understand the player where they are so we can best help them to that next step.
And we're actually talking about where they are on multiple levels. We can go right down to the physical level. You were here on the ice. I was way over there watching this. I wasn't where you were. So when you ask them what they see, it's an honest question. because you're asking them, I don't know the answer to this because I was way over there. And during a game, I was way over there standing on a bench. I wasn't even on the ice. So I have a completely different perspective on this. You were in the game. You had pressure. You had, the referee happened to be standing in that location, which we don't practice at. How often do we practice where the referee is going to stand? And how many times do the referees, quote, get in the way? Well, they're never in the way because they're part of the ice surface. We just never put that constraint in there into a practice situation to say, you have to skate around me. I'm part of the ice surface. I'm going to stand here and call whether that's a goal or no goal. So you want me to move, I'm going to miss that call. So we're talking to the kids about physically where they are, as well as all of these other things of emotionally and cognitively, are they aware of all of these other things going on? One of my really good friends, Ted Sweeken, is always talking about, and he works with pro athletes, so they're more in tune to this, but how does your body feel when you are doing this skill, when you are doing that technique? Because me as a coach, I don't want any of my players skating the way I skate, because I have my body and it's old and broken down and going through all of those things. But I don't want a 12-year-old copying my skating technique. I want to put the 12-year-old into an environment, into a constraint, into a skating drill where they have to figure out how their body feels when they're trying to control their inside edge, when they're trying to transition from forward to backward, when they have to do a 1 foot stop skating backward and immediately launch forward. If I do it and I show them how I do it every single time we do these drills, they're going to start copying me. And then we're going to have a bunch of really ugly skaters out there. And that's absolutely what I don't want. I've got really, really good skaters that I have, quote, taught to skate, not by demonstrating for them, but by putting them in these environments where they have to turn to the left in order to solve this problem. And they have to turn to the left really, really tight, or they have to turn to the left really loosely, or they have to turn to the left on just their outside edge. And if we keep putting them into these environments, they figure out, this is how it feels for me to be on this edge, for me to turn like this. This is not how it feels for my coach. This is how it feels for me. And then we get them to explain that to us. This is what I saw. This is why I decided to turn this way. This is what it felt like. What does it feel like when you fall? Does it feel like your skate edge is totally gone? That's a different feeling than my body control was off. My balance was off. Is this a skate sharpening issue? And I get to go talk to the team equipment manager, or is this a physical issue? I don't have the strength in my glutes to hold that position. Or is this a technical issue? I've never learned how to use my outside edge.
And the outside edge is something that is woefully underdeveloped in many kids. I'm curious about, how do you force them to get on that outside edge? Because you have a tight turn. I almost can guarantee that a player is going to use the inside edge for their outside leg. Maybe if it's a looser turn, they may choose differently, but how do you really force them into that?
Now we're going to go back to deliberate practice, and we're going to go back to closed drills. And so I have some skating warm-up drills that I have stolen from, there's a Russian coach in Detroit by the name of Anatoly Buliga. And he played back for, he was a 78 born, I believe. And one of those Soviet era coaches, that this is the only way you do it. And Nancy Burgraff, she was a Dakota skating coach, Laura Stam. And there's a whole bunch of these people who have just, here's the drills to use. And so I go through a whole series of drills. And one of the drills I do is a outside edge turn, but you're not allowed to cross over. So it's figure skating. I'm going to outside edge, and then I have to actually stand up and de-weight my edges. And then I apply the opposite outside edge to go the other direction. And because it's not crossovers, they're thinking about actually, or they have to think about holding the edge rather than just getting the power out of the crossover. Because I can quickly push the outside edge and then step to my inside edge. And that goes with backward skating as well. There's so much power to be gained off of that outside edge if you just know how to control it. And that's from Nancy Burgraff. And then from Anatoly Buliga, I learned to do a lot of 2-foot skiing rather than just the 1-foot slalom skiing that we all do with, pick your right foot up and now on your left foot, go all the way down the ice, inside, outside, inside, outside. And I still
which I challenge players to do when I'm trying to like get a feel for where their skill sets are. And
exactly
every time, it doesn't matter what level, it could be AAA even, and
yes.
and definitely under 50% are able to actually do it.
So there's Nancy's book. So you can put that into your notes for anybody who is interested. So what Anatoly Buliga taught me is try to do doing the same thing, but with 2 feet and your feet as close together as possible. So your skates are basically touching. And so now you're learning this rather than learning this, which you can get away with this and barely get onto that. But with this, now you're actually getting on those edges. And what you'll see is the kids who are more comfortable are able to get their feet together closer. The kids who are less comfortable will use their inside edge of 1 foot and their glides, the both edges, the glide phase on the other foot. So the more you can get them to get their feet together, the more they have to tip over. And then we'll actually jump. And so I'm going 2 feet on my right side. I jump in the air and I have to land 2 feet on my left side. Well, now I have to land on my outside edge. And again, this is all figure skating type of things. I talk with my boss here about, what is power skating? It's just a term that was created by people like Laura Stam and Nancy and Robbie Glantz and really good skating coaches to say, look, it's a little bit more than technical skating. And it's definitely not figure skating, even though Laura is famous for wearing her figure skates on the ice and teaching guys how to skate. Shmushkin up in Toronto, great Russian figure skating coach who taught a lot of hockey players how to skate. But it's really fascinating to put them into these situations where they have to get onto that edge. And then they feel comfortable doing it. And the more comfortable they do it, the more likely it's going to happen in game situations. So now we have to figure out how to put those game situations into practice that force them onto that outside edge, or that force them onto pivoting and holding that edge really, really nicely.
And I think the key that we've been talking about is, yes, there's a technique to it, but as you mentioned, it's very personalized to what works for you and your body and how it currently is at, or maybe you do need some serious gym work to help reprogram that. Like I had a player one year and I'm like, this is just your body just does not move correctly. Like we need like basically a year of off ice just to get you to a point where, okay, now we can start attacking other issues and truly make you into hockey players. So like, I'm like, your development may not go very linear. Like you need basically a full year of trainer.
Exactly.
So he did it and he actually did the work. And I was so excited to get him the next year. And then he just thought that because he did that, boom, everything was going to be solved and he was going to be a wonderful hockey player and take over the world.
Exactly.
That wasn't to be the case. So apparently I did a terrible job of explaining how long this process truly was.
But for that moment, he became a better athlete. And isn't that
100%?
Yeah. So now when he gets to be my age, he doesn't have these issues or those issues because you taught him how to be a better athlete, which is going to last longer than teaching him how to be a better hockey player. So cheers to you for recognizing that there was a movement issue, there was a strength issue, a coordination issue, rather than just a hockey issue. Because a lot of hockey coaches would just say, "Oh, we're going to work on skating more."
Yeah, that was not the issue. It was not the skating technique. But going back to that, like the idea of field learning, like I think that I see a lot of hockey people out there. Like I don't want to name names because some of them are very much out there in the public eye, but it's, you move your hand just a little bit really hard. And like, that's the key. I'm like, well, that's great. And maybe you like say that, but you keep going back to the well year after year. And I've seen your work from 20 years ago, and it's pretty much the same as it is today. Like, there are some truths, but at the same point, like, at what point should you evolve beyond here's how the technique should operate to how can we make this feel to the athlete? And the prime example I like to use is with skating. I feel like it's the easiest of like, I don't care how you like for posture, like you should be in an upright position. It needs to be this angle and your shin, blah, blah, blah. My whole thing is, okay, take your laces down one or two, whatever feels comfortable, or, not super awkward that you feel like you're going to break your ankle. And then I just want you to feel like your upper body is stacked on top of your lower body. And it's amazing. You can literally do it within one drill, like literally 30 seconds later, have them do like a snake down the ice and then tell them, here's what I'm looking for you to do. Just stack your weight, feel like you've got a strong base and your upper body is truly on top of your lower body. And just like the feel, especially the kids who really feel through their athletic movements and through the game, it's night and day, and it's so fast. And I think that's kind of the shortcut rather than saying, oh, we need more lean, really feel like you're getting your, whatever it is.
You just put a light bulb into my head, because I'm trying to do all of this in a foreign language. I'm working with kids who speak Finnish or Swedish, and I don't have all of the vocabulary, but I can get those key vocabulary terms like stacking your body and making sure that you feel centered, that you feel like you're over your skates rather than leaning forward or all of those things. So that's really fascinating. And so I mean the idea of the feel is also, hey, when you're turning coming out of this corner, do you feel where the rest of the game is? Do you see what's going on around you more than just, and again, we talked about eyes, which are incredibly important, but there is a sense of the game beyond our eyes. We gather the information, and then the moment we step away from, we skate one stride, the information has changed. So there needs to be kind of a pattern recognition, but from a chaotic standpoint. I recognize that this is where these guys most likely are going. So I want to make the play here. I want to put the puck there. I guess Austin Matthews scored a couple really incredible goals that Hockey Think Tank just posted. That feeling of being in the slot and being ready to shoot the puck. How do you develop that in these kids? How do you put them into these situations where I need to know when I'm off balance, how to quickly or not in perfect balance for this shot, how to quickly get the shot off anyway. So it's figuring out the analogies. It's figuring out, and that's what's great about stacking. Stacking is an analogy. I'm thinking about boxes, and I'm like, okay, well, my shins are a box, and my thighs are a box, and my glutes are kind of this connecting box between my thighs and my stomach. So my core is a box. How do I stack all of these boxes so that I have a good weight distribution, so that I feel powerful on the ice? Well, that puts an image into my head, and it's the same image I want to give the kids when we're playing the game also. Is how do I give them these ideas of the patterns where players are moving to? This is fascinating. We could dive down 6 rabbit holes on this one.
And I like where you took this, because it's how do you bring something to the consciousness? Like, that's kind of coaching, is like bringing a focus and something to the surface for players to think about. Which is great. But I think many people forget about the second part, which you're talking about, like developing a feel, which really just means that we're pushing things to the subconscious level where it's just automation, it's habits, it's you already know where to look. You already know maybe what the key bits of information are, because you've trained your eyes, you've trained your mind to look into certain areas, to collect certain information. And it's no longer something you're very conscious about, but subconscious. It's like, I think that in itself is a fascinating idea of how do we sink things back down once we bubble them up.
I've the program where I work, we have what we call a talent group, and it's basically it's an invite only multi-age group practice once a week, and we invite kids from U13 to U15. So that's 14U, 13U, 12U. Is that right? U15 is 14U, I think so. And when I run some of those practices, the kids actually complain that they have to think too much. Can we do something simple? You know, and that's actually that will be the colored puck story.
I was gonna say that's a compliment, really.
It is. They come off of my practices and they are brain tired, in addition to being body tired. And I feel really good about that. I'm like, okay, I actually taxed them on more than just the sweat factor. They had to think in the practice. So we have a games day for this group, and I'll just play 3-on-3 cross ice, 3-on-3, and then just start throwing rule after rule after rule onto the 3-on-3 game. We'll play the Royal Road game. So we're playing 3-on-3, and you have to make a pass across the Royal Road before you can score. Otherwise, it doesn't count. You can still shoot and score. It's just worth 0 instead of worth 1. Then we'll add the high man game, and so now you have to have one player above the middle of the ice. And then we'll add the high man game and the Royal Road game, and then we'll add the high man game and the Royal Road game, and now it has to be a one-timer. And we'll just keep building, and then. And this is where the colored pucks come in. Each of the puck's colors is a rule. So whatever color puck you have, that's the rule of the game. And you can put that in addition to other rules you have, or you can just make that its own thing. So when we play the colored pucks game, orange puck flies out there, and orange is 99, Wayne Gretzky, Edmonton Oilers, and you got to set up in Gretzky's office before you can score. And I don't care which player sets up in Gretzky's office. I just care that the puck is played out of Gretzky's office. And that's actually one of my little idiosyncrasies is when I do games with jokers, I want the jokers to be able to rotate. I don't want it to be one static player who stands behind the goal, because that doesn't happen in the game. So we have anybody who can stand behind the goal. There just has to be somebody making a play from behind the goal, because that's how Gretzky did it. So they play with the Gretzky puck, and they either score, or the puck goes out of play, or the goalie freezes it, and I throw in the red puck. Well, the red puck is Washington Capitals. That's Ovechkin. We're going to take one-timers. So the only way you can score with the red puck is if it's off of a one-timer, and that includes catch and shoot. As long as you don't stick handle, as long as you don't hold on to the puck and skate with the puck, it counts. So maybe we're playing a regular 3-on-3 game and we throw these colored pucks out there. And now the kid shifts from a black puck, which is just regular 3-on-3, to, oh no, orange, what does that mean? We got to go behind the net and we got to set up an offensive play. And that changes the way they have to think about the game. And then that puck is out and we throw another black puck in there. And what happens? They make another play from behind the net. Well, there wasn't an orange puck. They didn't have to do it, but they saw that this was a good play to do. So they did it anyway. And again, you can stack these on top of other rules. So we're playing the Royal Road game, and the orange puck goes out there, and the red puck goes out there. Well, it's Royal Road, but it has to be a one-timer. So I can't just skate the puck over the Royal Road and then shoot it. I got to set up a one-timer. Well, how do you set up a one-timer? Is it just the guy who's taking the shot? Does the guy with the puck have any responsibility for setting up a one-timer? I got to take that puck into a good passing lane so that that guy over there can skate into it and get the shot off. So it's all of these different levels and levels and levels. And then the kids are looking at me going, can we just play straight 3-on-3, please? No rules. Just let us play. You're making me think too much. And I'm like, you're welcome. Yes, of course you can. Let's go.
Yeah. And I would like to just throw it out there to all of the coaches that are listening. If you decide to contact Mike Bonelli and buy some colored pucks in the States here or Canada, that you shouldn't just start with 3 different colored pucks and playing 3-on-3 with 3 different rules. You should probably start with one puck and build up the games.
Exactly.
One, it'll be easier for the kids to remember. Two, it'll be much quicker. You don't have to diagram everything. You just attach the rule to the different puck
Yep.
one at a time. We can all follow along, get a little bit of familiarity, and then we can build to the next complexity rather than just jumping into the complexity. So I'll throw that out there, number one. And then the second piece that I really enjoyed what you're doing is the vocabulary and how you strategically attach the vocabulary to be memorable. Like
Yes.
red equals capitals, which equals Ovechkin, which equals one timer. Like we can all remember, okay, red is OV, which means one timers. If you just said red is
Exactly.
one timers, that's going to be very difficult, especially if you're having, 3 or 4 different colored pucks to remember that, oh, what is red again?
Correct. Yep.
So I think that is a very powerful thing is you attach the story or something of meaning to that color that makes it memorable. So I think that's another key component that I want to make sure that everyone remembers from our conversation here is vocabulary does matter, and it's how we can help drive the learning.
And players, our athletes, they want stories. So if you give them the story of Ovechkin, they will more quickly attach themselves to that, and they'll more quickly understand that. A lot of my drills have really stupid names, and it's because there's a story now, and the kids know what the story is, so that they know what the drill is. For example, one of my goalie coaches, he was creating a drill, and for whatever reason, one of those stupid songs was on the radio when he was creating the drill, and he named the drill Baby Shark. Exactly. And it's the worst, and I absolutely hate it.
Oh, I mean, every parent right now is rolling their eyes, by the way.
Exactly. But when I say Baby Shark to a bunch of Finnish hockey players or Norwegian hockey players or Swedish hockey players, all I have to do is say Baby Shark, and they know exactly what I'm talking about. And it takes zero setup now. Guys, we're doing Baby Shark 2-on-1. They know exactly what that means. There's no setup time. There's no diagramming. They just go right into it. And just like you said, we didn't start with, okay, guys, we're doing Baby Shark 2-on-1, go. We started with, okay, guys, let me tell you about Baby Shark. Baby Shark is the idea of we're going to drive down the middle of the ice. We're going to kick the puck wide. And then where do I go after the puck is kicked wide? And how does the goalie move to adjust to this 2-on-1? Or it started as a 2-on-0. To adjust to this 2-on-0, the puck is wide, so the goalie has to be on his post or near, that area of the crease. And there's going to be a pass coming back, or there's going to be a shot and a rebound, or there's going to be this guy driving to the near post. And how does the goalie make the play based on these different components? And then it built and built and built. And now I can just call out Baby Shark, and the kids already have that story in their head. They know that we're driving the middle of the ice. They know that there's defenders on us taking away the middle, because that's what defenders are supposed to do. And so we're going to kick the puck wide. And maybe it's wide left, maybe it's wide right. It depends on all of the different things. And so you give them these stories, and that they can attach to these stories. Ovechkin, some stupid song on the radio, some great coach, or other great player. A lot of my drills are named by other people, or for other people. So Erika Westerlund is a very famous Finnish national team coach. I call out Westerlund, and the kids say, which one? Because I got 47 different versions of Westerlund, but they all have the same basic start pattern. So,
And it's fascinating because when they talk about memory champions, like how do they actually remember all of these things? Like
yeah,
they're just creating stories like this and that and this and that. The stories we tell ourselves are the cheat code to memory. So it's like, you think about how do we create stories, whether it be like nicknames. And if you look deep enough, you see it everywhere in society.
Right. And how much attention do I need the kids to give me in order to get a drill started? The less attention I take to get a drill started, the more attention the kids can put to doing the drill, to doing whatever it is they're doing. So I don't want to take the focus away from what it is we're trying to do. I want them to be able to put all of their concentration into how am I going to solve this solution or solve this problem? Sorry. how am I going to do this drill? How am I going to execute this turn or that play? Johnny Phone Booth, named after Johnny Goudreau, because he could skate in and out of a phone booth and nobody can catch him. So the kids all know I'm talking about tight turns, but and tight turns near the boards and with people on you and all of those kind of things. All I have to do is say Johnny Phone Booth, and they can put their attention to, how am I going to turn? How am I going to make this play coming out of the turn? How am I going to protect the puck? What do I do if the defender has his stick here instead of there? I did not take any of their attention away by having to go through what the drill is.
Yeah, you want to conserve that mental energy. So
exactly,
because I'm going to be that. Because there's plenty of decisions to be made.
Too many, and most of them are wrong, in our view. But if the solution works, is it really wrong?
Well, now you're talking about coaching process versus coaching results, and
Yes.
that's an hour episode in itself. Are we coaching the input or are we coaching the output? And coaching the input, we all obviously know, and definitely in this room, that is the key.
It hurts so much when the kid scores the goal from a really, really bad angle, and he comes back to the bench with a huge smile on his face, and all you can say is, "Good job." What else did you see? Well, I scored. Yeah, but did you see that Billy was in front of the net wide open with his stick on the ice on the back door? He could have just tapped it in. Yeah, but I scored. Good job, you scored. Nice play. Nice play. Good way to solve that problem, buddy. Did you have your eyes up?
Too funny. But
yeah.
I want to dive into more decisions, like when to pick a position. When should that happen?
I have in Finland, in this wonderful country of producing really, really good high level players, I have 13 and 14-year-olds that have only played one position all their life. And they haven't, but in their opinion, they have. We play cross ice hockey through U9, U10, U11. There's a lot of cross ice hockey, so you should be mixing forward defense just naturally in cross ice hockey. But are we actually teaching them what is your responsibility when you're in this position? And one of the things I like about the Finnish association is there's roles. I'm the guy with the puck. I'm one of the guys without the puck. So when we're on offense, I'm one of these two roles. I'm the defender on the puck. I'm the defender away from the puck. I'm guarding one of those guys, or I'm guarding space or whatever. So we've actually really refocused this year and going into next year on making sure that the kids understand the responsibilities of being here on the ice. If I'm here on the ice and the puck is there, then I have this responsibility, either offensively or defensively. I'm saying all of this because when I get these kids at 13 years old and they say they've never played defense before, I know that actually they have. They've just never lined up for a face-off in the defensive position.
How does this get taught? Is this something that is an off-ice curriculum, or is this something just naturally that happens through the system, the roles, and understanding the different responsibilities? Is that something that's taught off ice very specifically?
I'm doing it this year. I'm doing it on ice and off ice, and it's very intentional and very specific. Off ice, we do it in the locker room. We're talking about, a Johnny Phone Booth drill is 2 tight turns in the corner, make a pass and escape the corner and get the shot off. Okay. So Johnny is role 1. Johnny has the puck. What's Johnny's responsibility? So Johnny's first responsibility is to try and score a goal, because that's the first thing we want to do with the puck, is we want to score a goal. Johnny's second responsibility, if he cannot do Johnny's first responsibility, is to make time and space. So I can't go to the net and score this goal. So I'm going to go over to that area and create time and space. And we talk through all of this. And we work on this, and we will stop a drill with a kid and pull him out and let the drill go on with other kids. And we pull him out and say, look, you weren't able to get to the net. So what do you need to do there? Well, I need to protect the puck and I need to create time and space. Okay, good. You just repeated my words back to me that I've been saying over and over again. What are you creating time and space for? Oh, well, I'm hoping that a teammate can get into a good position so that I can get them the puck so that they can score a goal. I'm like, now we're processing all of this. Okay, now let's do this in reverse. You're the teammate. Your buddy's in the corner. He can't get to the net. What do you need to do? You're role 2. You're the guy without the puck, and we're on offense. What do you need to do? Well, I need to get to a place where I can score a goal. Okay, well, that's good, but where's the puck? Oh, I need to get to a place where the guy with the puck can get me the puck so that I can score a goal. Okay, good. Now we're processing all of this. Now we're thinking about this. What if he loses the puck? Oh, well, I need to be ready to play defense. Okay, so if you're below the goal line, hoping he can get you the puck, are you ready to play defense? Oh, I should be in front of the goal. I should, and then you start creating F1, F2, F3, you create your triangles, you get all your support. And all of this is done through the practices, through the different drills that we do. We have to break our drills down here and say, this is teaching this aspect of the game. This is teaching that aspect of the game. We're working on role 3 today. We're working on pressuring the puck as a defenseman, as a defensive player. But we're doing it in the offensive zone, so it's forechecking. But I'm a defensive player because we don't have the puck. But I'm in the offensive zone trying to win the puck back. Should I be on the offensive side of the play? Should I be on the defensive side of the play? So this is this whole process that goes through, and it's developed and developed and developed. And then through this, I start putting players at different positions during faceoffs. And now I've got a kid who I understand the role of a defensive player in this situation, and I'm standing here on the faceoff. So my general responsibilities for this shift or this game are these types of responsibilities. But when I have the puck, guess what my first job is? Go score a goal.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
It can be. And again, it goes back to, it's confusing. It's brain taxing.
You want to break a mental sweat is what I'm understanding.
Exactly. And so my age groups, I'm 13 and 14 age groups, 12, 13, 14 age groups. We work with 2 players at a time working together and 3 players at a time working together. So F1 and F2, F1, F2, F3. We really, I barely get into F4 and F5 as a group. I might talk about the defenseman, the weak side defenseman jumping up into the play, but I make sure that there's only 1 or 2 other players involved in that drill when I do it. Because 5 is a lot of confusion. Am I this guy or are you that guy? So we just break that down a little bit more. So 2-on-1 rush with the defenseman jumping up late into the play. So now it's a 3-on-1. Well, that means we're kicking if I don't have the middle, I'm kicking the puck wide. I'm going near post. Why am I going near post? Because I got my defenseman jumping up into the play, into that high slot area. So if I go near post, I can screen the goalie. I can get rebounds. I can deflect pucks. I can be in a good area to help us score goals because I got that guy coming in late and he's coming into that high area. So that's how we teach the defenseman to come into the high area. And then we'll do the same drill, but now it's 3 forwards. Well, F1 and F2 are doing the exact same thing. Where's F3 going? He's going back door. Why? Because he knows F2 is going front door. F2 is going to the goalie to mask the goalie, screen the goalie. And our defenseman's coming up high. So if I delay too much and I'm in high, I'm taking somebody else's space. I'm in the wrong role. I'm in the wrong position for this play. So first you build F1, F2, F3, then you build F1, F2, F4. And I actually saw in a game in a couple of weeks ago, so late in the season, we had a very perfect F1, F2, F3, F4 rush coming into the offensive zone. And the puck went to F4, who shot the puck through the screen, hit the goalie, F3 had the rebound goal.
Yeah,
and it was just
the late ice is where it is, and the
Yeah,
power, like on a zone entry, like what's the most important thing? Getting
right.
depth. Doesn't matter who gets it. Someone's got to get it, whether the puck, off the puck,
Yeah,
etc. So you're opening the options available.
right.
It's super powerful.
So we talk, and I know I'm kind of dancing around the question that you had, but we talk about width, and we talk about depth, and we talk about spacing, and we talk about triangles. And then when I put a kid at defense for, like I said, a game or a week or a month, yeah, they're scared because they don't want to get beat skating backwards on a one-on-one. But I talk about the fact that, hey, we pressure skating forward, and we have F3 in the high zone, so his job is to help you out if you mess up. So don't worry about it. You got your support. Oh, and by the way, when you get the puck, go score goals. All of those kind of things. And so I've actually been able to convert kids who have never played defense into kids who like playing defense. Um, and then the reverse is also true. I've got a really, really talented 13-year-old as a defenseman that wasn't comfortable being up in the offensive play. Well, how do you change that? Hey, buddy, you're playing wing today. Oh, I don't play wing. I play defense. Yeah, I know. Go play wing. Just remember to be F3, and when Johnny, who never plays defense, goes too far into the zone, I know I can trust you because you're going to be back there and you know what to do. But I want you to try and score goals. I want you to try and forecheck. I want you to be in the offensive corners. I want you to feel what that's like. And I'm a huge fan right now of Colorado and Tampa Bay and the style of hockey that they play. And you look at how offensive minded their defensemen are. It's such beautiful hockey to think about. It reminds me of the 1960s, 1970s Red Army teams that used to come over, and you didn't know what position Fetisov was really playing.
It's funny. I love clipping any NHL video. I can't say I catch them all, but for the most part, just basically, I love D-to-D passes, and it's because two defensemen crash down into the offensive zone off the blue line.
Yeah,
You got these wingers that are playing zone, and they're still like hanging up above the hash marks, and you got these two D right at the net going D-to-D pass.
yeah,
It's hilarious. I just
it's beautiful.
absolutely love it.
Yeah,
Um, and I remember the story of Rasmus Dahlin
correct.
and the fact that he really didn't have a full-time position until his draft year, the year before his draft year. Like he played
He,
up
he
till at
yeah,
least 15. I know that for
correct.
sure,
Yep.
playing pretty much everything.
And what's cool is up until 15, he played for his town team outside of Gothenburg, Sweden. He didn't join Frölunda until U16 hockey. And that's the way that the Swedish system basically works is we want you to play at the rink that is closest to where you live for as long as possible. And then we'll put together our teams when you're 15 years old. We'll put together our super teams and play in TV Pucken and all of those things. But we don't want to do it when you're 12. We don't need you driving 45 minutes through Gothenburg traffic each way just to get to a practice, because you're doing the same practices at home. And he's in a small club, so he gets to play all different positions and he gets to play different age groups. This is one of the key differences between North American hockey and European hockey is our rosters are not set for the season. I basically have 20 kids or 30 kids, and we have a AAA game this weekend. I'm going to pick 15 to go. And 3 of them might say no because they're going skiing. And I'm like, great, you go skiing. That gives those 3 kids an opportunity. Let's go. And now I still have my 15 players going to a AAA game, but I didn't have to worry about all of the roster regulations and all of that. Well, that's what Rasmus Dahlin did. And then he gets to Frölunda and they're like, we need a defenseman. And he goes, I guess I'm a defenseman.
That's a lot of fun. I love that, and it's obviously easier in North America with the house league. And I know some programs that are trying to get to this point. I don't know about the
Yeah.
AAA programs, but basically, like they'll set
Yeah.
rosters. Like just we'll figure it out as we go. And sometimes, like, do you want to put a kid on a stacked team? how do you want to like shift things around? Like you could do some cool development stuff by shifting around, because now you're talking about getting into the perception of speed, how kids can manipulate, are they below, at, or above the speed of the game mentally, all of that stuff.
Exactly.
Very, very, very interesting.
So my goal with the position thing, I want to give my U16 coach a hockey player. So I don't want them playing.
Players.
We make hockey players. I don't make left wing grinders for your third line. I make a hockey player. And then when he gets to U16, maybe he's the best left wing grinder that we have in this age group. Great. Fantastic. But I'm not going to decide that when he's 13 or 14 years old. The kids might come to me and say, I want more time playing defense. And I say, yes. But I still want you to play offense a couple times. And they're like, okay. So it's all compromise and communication and relationship building and all of that. And I have other kids who have said, I don't ever want to play that position. And I say, well, ever is a long time. So I'm going to ask you to do it a couple times, but I'm not going to force you to do it every single time just because I know you don't want to. I'm going to ask you to do it a couple times, and hopefully we can work this out. So.
Yeah, and role is relative to
exactly
the situation. So
yes,
you don't want to pigeonhole a role just because of a certain situation. So I'll throw that out there.
And again, like I've said before, I'm going to be aware of the context. I'm going to be aware of the environment. We're going to a top tier tournament. That's not the time to try new positions. We're in a series of exhibition games. Guess what? New lines every game, new positions every game, because if we win or lose these games, we are still playing on Sunday. But like the USA Hockey Nationals just finished off. I guarantee you that the U14 AAA defenseman played defense every single game that entire tournament, because he was on a U14 AAA team, and probably the tier 2 kids as well. This is my position. And granted, stuff happens during a game, so you have to cover and all of that kind of stuff. But the lineup was, Greg, you're one of our best defensemen. This tournament, we're going for the USA Hockey National Championship. You're playing defense every game. You never have to think about it.
Yep.
So I get it.
Going way back, I just want to pull one thing out of what you said, because I think it's very important.
An hour ago. Okay, let's go.
Yes. Taking the kid out of the drill while the drill continues. So I just want to specify that. So it's not we stop, load the entire practice down, talk to one kid, maybe some other kids overhear us, and we're wasting ice time. It's as the drill continues. I think that's a powerful thing for coaches, parents, players, etc., to understand about how this operates and the logistics of it. Because we can talk about, oh, this is great, but how do we logistically make it happen? Because once you talk about theory, well, now we need to apply it. So I think that's a key element that needs to be said.
The biggest mistake that I've caught myself doing in this process is pulling that kid out, but not pulling him away from the space of the drill, because I'm starting to talk about hey, you're in the slot area and I'm standing in the slot area, which the next kid in the drill needs to use that slot area to complete the drill. So I have caught myself. This is another big thing that I'm working on, is I need to be able to help the kid know the space that I'm talking about without actually occupying that space. So when I pull them out, and we're talking, I'm pulling them a meter away. I'm pulling them 3 feet away from the line of the repetition of the kids going next. And now I have to sit there and I have to point, okay, when you're in that area, what are you seeing? What are we trying to accomplish? What's the solution we're trying to have? So that's another piece of this whole puzzle, is I'm working with an individual finishing an individual rep of an individual drill that he had his solution for that drill, whether it worked or didn't work. He had his solution, and we're trying to dive deep into helping him either come up with different solutions or understand the spacing that he was in. Hey, your solution worked, but it would have worked better if you pulled it away by a foot or two or a meter or whatever. And so it's being aware of the context of the drill and what are we really trying to accomplish in the drill. I have drills that are simply rep drills. I just want you to get rep after rep after rep. They're basic passing, skating, shooting drills. Like I said, it's a closed drill. I want you to get the feel of pivoting forward, backward while you're catching passes.
Question
I don't
for you.
need, yeah.
Should we be doing closed drills during warm-ups for games?
Oh, thank you for bringing this up. Yes, here's my out of the box thinking, and I'm going to credit.
I feel like you and I are very similar in this thought process.
I'm going to credit Kenny Rausch, was a USA Hockey youth director.
And more importantly, an ex-Hockey IQ podcast guest as well.
There you go. He won a college championship back in the day, and he's very active. His wife is very active in lacrosse. They are challenging thinkers, and I like it. He was one of the ones that I talked about with the icing rule, just challenging me on how I'm thinking. So we were talking one day and he's like, why do we do static? I call it the McDonald's drill, the golden arches. I skate out of the corner over the top of the circle, catch a pass from the other side. And we just keep looping and looping and looping. And half the passes are missed. And the ones that are caught, the shot is wide and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, how does that get them ready for games? What is it that we're trying to do? We're trying to get them game ready. And what do a lot of the kids do on their own nowadays? They go kick a soccer ball, a football around, and they play the game where they have to keep it in the air after one bounce or whatever. And they do that as part of their warm up. And so that's a multi-solution activity, and it's competitive, and they sweat and they get inside of it. And we took it to the ice. And so I've gone out on the ice with my teams, and half the teams will be wearing their game jerseys and the other half will leave their game jersey on the bench. And we only have a 3 or 4 minute warm up. So we have shirts and skins, and we'll play a 1 goal blue line tag up game of 3-on-3 or 4-on-4, which works so much better than doing the 3-on-2 regroup static pre-game 3-on-2 drill. I can get the regroup in there. I can get the tag up. I can get the all of the different things, the line changes, the
gapping up,
whatever, the gapping up, all of that I can get in that. The passing, the skating, the quick turning, all of that I can get all of that in this 3 or 4 minutes of just playing a basic 3-on-3 or 4-on-4, or games with jokers and passing boards. So you got to pass to that guy who gives it back. You can get all of that done. And my question is, why not? Why do we need to just skate around? Finland, it's actually this year has been harder. I can't really get any of that done because we get 1 or 2 minutes maximum warm up, maybe if the Zamboni gets off on time, if all of that stuff, and we might not even get pucks on the ice. So everybody just skates around and lollygags, but I try to do some type of competition before we get on the ice to get that juice going. So yeah, so why not play small games on the ice before practices or before games? Why not?
There's a reason why the NCAA no longer allows 2 nets for a team for warmups, because the college coach, I forget who, I'm trying to remember the name, actually used to do this back, I want to say, in the 70s or 80s. He'd literally have 2 nets and they would play a small area game before, and then they outlawed it because there's too much of an uproar.
Was that University of Minnesota?
It may have been. I don't remember. I'm really blanking on it right now, but it was amazing. And I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, if I could do that, I would 100% put out there 2 nets, throw on a constraint of the day, and do that for 5-10 minutes.
When I was in Norway, I was actually very friendly with the rink people and the Zamboni drivers. And I was able to do that 2 or 3 times. where I had 2 nets pregame on my side of the ice. And the other team was like, what are you guys doing? It's like, we're playing a little game here. So excellent.
It's a lot of fun. I love the rondo personally. That's my favorite game to use. I know that
Yes.
skating's not there, but I feel like every other element is in that game. And the perception, the mind gets going. So I'd rather break a mental sweat in warm-ups than anything else. Like, you're gonna get hit and you'll get the physical warm-up, but I really want to get the brain going, decision making.
And you can modify your rondos so that there is more skating, there is movement, depending on what version of your rondo you're doing. So
yeah, I always try to give the goalie time. So like I do like the old Montreal only with rondos. So instead of passing circles, we're doing rondos. We'll let the goalie get used to his crease and crease movements. Some guys aren't interested in that and they just want to feel a puck. They can hang out in the neutral zone. But
exactly,
like you said, giving autonomy, allowing them to do things, but really try to break a mental sweat more than anything.
Yep. And that autonomy is huge nowadays. These kids, we're in an era right now where there's not enough autonomy given to our children. For whatever reason, there's absolutely important reasons why our society has moved this way, but I think it's also detrimental to our kids.
I coach a lot of high school and college kids, and I will say, I don't know what to call it. Sometimes I want to call it overprotectionism.
Okay.
Don't do it's rather than explaining the why, it's like, don't do this, don't do that. So all these kids have the I can't do this, I can't do that stuck in their mind, and it creates a lot of problems down the road that are very hard to solve. Rather than the kids that are like, oh, I just run out in the street and play with my friends.
Yeah,
not exactly looked up upon nowadays, but that was completely the norm a mere 30 years ago.
And I'm watching TikToks of proud parents saying my 19-year-old's first time calling to make an appointment at the doctor's office. And I'm like, you're proud of this? And you can hear the parent coaching this 19-year-old through answering all the questions the doctor has, like what day is best? Because the 19-year-old's like, what do you mean what day is best? And the mom's like, well, you work on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, so not Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And I'm like, oh my God. And 13-year-olds, this is the first time my 13-year-old has gone into the store and ordered his own fast food. Now, granted, I'm generalizing because I know that there's specific things to be proud of when depending on the type of child you have, the situation your child is in. So I want to be careful what I'm saying. I'm grossly generalizing, but I'm just shaking my head. And I must say, I love the videos when you give the kid the rotary phone and ask him to make a phone call and they have no idea. And I'm like, okay, that's where technology has gone. That's funny. So
I always laugh. I'm like, humans are the exact same. It's just a matter of what technology they've been given.
Yeah.
Like, the kids today act the exact same as kids many years ago. They have more technology at their fingertips.
Yep. And I feel like I'm the old person that I no longer know how to set the VCR clock. It's like, okay, some kid throws me some app and they're like, see what this can do? And I'm like, I have no idea what you're doing. How are you doing that? How are you,
sorcery over here.
Exactly.
But
you kids and your high technology. So it's good.
Yes. So I will, I guess I'm going to we could go on for so much longer, but I think we need to end it at some point, and I think this might be a good spot. I'm going to say one little thing, and then I'll give you 2 minutes to say anything you want. But I would just encourage more autonomy within kids, whether it be coaching, parenting, et cetera, earlier. A lot of times is better, especially if you can do it in a controlled environment before I have to get the kids at college and have to literally teach them how to become a human being. Would be much appreciated on my end. But nonetheless, more autonomy is better. Teach these kids to call the doctor at age 17 and coach them through then, rather than at age 19 when they're out of the house and they're calling you every 2 seconds.
The easiest way to do that is to give them choices. And the easiest choices are the either or choices, meaning, guys, we're going to play a small game today. Do you want to play the Royal Road game or do you want to play the High Man game? And that is the start of this autonomy, because they feel, hey, I made this decision. Well, guys, coaches, they didn't really make a decision. You were playing a game. You just gave them the choice of how are we, what are the rules of this game? What are the constraints we're going to use? And you build them up that way. And that's so important that they feel like they have ownership of this stuff, because it's their game. We're just there as guides. We're just there as helping them understand an adult level of this kid's game. So when they get to be college players, we want them to have this ability to make these decisions. Well, how do we do that unless we give them decisions that they're allowed to make?
I like that. You just gave me an idea. If I ever create a hockey company, I really screwed up my naming now. Now I think about it, it's going to be Sherpa Hockey.
Oh, nice. The guide.
Yes.
Guide. I like that. Taking you to the highest levels.
It's not always about the highest levels, but there's more. I mean, Chris Chelios is playing men's league these days, I hear. So apparently you cannot play at the highest level forever.
Everybody retires into the beer leagues. So
absolutely. Yeah. So Dave, thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely. 2 minutes, thank you for having me.
Anything you want to talk about, please fill us with goodness. Otherwise, we'll end it here and come on back another day.
Nice. Well, the thing that I will say to all the coaches, the best thing that has happened to me is I had other coaches open my eyes to different ways of thinking, different ideas coming in. If we are always surrounding ourselves by people who think the same way that we think, then we will never grow in our thinking. So I try to follow as many divergent thinkers as I possibly can, because I never know where I'm going to get ideas from, whether it be, following Kenny Rausch and getting ideas from him on how hockey can be done, or Mike Boyle with strength and conditioning, or Nancy Burgraff with her skating versus Laura Stam with her skating versus Anatoly Buliga. Completely different things. And when you listen to all of these people and you start creating your own ideas from that, that's where the magic happens. So when you see a drill, don't just do the drill, do the reason behind the drill, because maybe the drill is wrong for the reason that you want, but the drill is a really cool drill. The game is the colored pucks. Nobody says that orange has to be Gretzky for you. Orange can be anything you want orange to be. It just happened to make sense for me and what I'm trying to teach. So take my ideas, take the ideas that are coming from Hockey IQ, take the ideas that are coming from Ted Sweekinen, and make them your own. But make sure you're open to taking all of these ideas. The worst thing that I've ever done is not listened to somebody.
Everyone's an example, good or bad. I have my anti-coach up in Cleveland that I do the exact opposite of whatever he's doing. He's a fine, kind young gentleman. Maybe not young, but an older, young, kind gentleman. And I have my anti-mentor.
But that's an inspiration. It's a de-inspiration, but it's an inspiration. It's challenging you to see what you can do differently and better, which I love. I'm the same way. So just make sure you listen to him so you know where his ideas are, so that when you do go the opposite direction, you know what you're basing it on.
Yes, that's everyone's fantastic. A learning opportunity.
Exactly. I might not agree with you, but I will listen to you most of the time. I try. I'm still a learning in progress person too. But this has been great.
Thank you so much
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm going to look forward to listening to myself talk and when you get this posted.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate you coming on. You're definitely someone who thinks outside of the box and in the correct direction. As I say, it's the vector from Despicable Me. It's direction and magnitude. So thank you again for coming on. Really appreciate you taking the time here. And I know you got to run to the rink. Or you're probably already at the rink, but have to get on the actual ice surface. So Thanks for again
Great.
taking the time. I know it's not easy to connect when I'm in North America, you're over in Finland, and there's large time change.
Exactly. Great. Thanks.
Take care.
Bye.
That concludes this week's episode. Thanks for joining us here at Hockey IQ. If you haven't already, take a quick moment to hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and drop a review. If you want to be a great teammate, even recommend us to a friend. You can follow us at Hockey's Arsenal on Twitter and Instagram. Check out the website, hockeysarsenal.com, where you can subscribe to the weekly newsletter. You won't regret it. Catch you buttes here next week for a brand new episode.